Track 9 on the Of Stones and Bones album is Reverend Hawker of Morwenstow, who was a very colourful character about 100 years ago. And we went to stay, he's got a vicarage up in Morwenstow. We went to stay there the night to get some inspiration. It was quite a lovely place. Lovely coast path walking as well. But he was a bit of a maverick and a bit of a spiritualist, and did loads for the villages around. And he used to wear all these colourful clothes and hats, and he was. But he also, whenever there was a shipwreck, it's quite a treacherous bit of coast there, and it's got all these very sharp, jaggedy rocks. And he built himself a little hut on the coast path called Hawker's Hut, which is owned by the National Trust now. Actually, you can go and visit it still. It's quite sweet little place. And he used to sit in there with his opium pipe, smoking opium, writing poetry and musings and stuff. And if there were any shipwrecks that he saw, he'd actually climb down the rocks and pick up all the pieces of body, and because the rocks were so sharp that any sailors that hit them were actually sliced into bits. And he'd take them up to his churchyard and bury them. He also used to do services for the local animals. And he wrote Trelawney's Army, actually, the national anthem for Cornwall as well. But he was a very interesting character. There's loads of stories about him and the things he's done, and I quite like him as a bit of a hero, really, because he was a bit of a maverick of his day. So yeah, that's and we've made it quite because of the coastline, very nice and rocky. So that was that one. One and All, coming to the end of the album now, penultimate song. When I was a small boy, living up in Yorkshire, 7 in our family, we used to just cram ourselves into an old estate car and drive down to Cornwall and go a couple of weeks camping in the summer holidays. I always would be in the boot, actually. You can't think of it nowadays, can you? Kid in the boot. I mean, let's sick bucket, because I didn't travel too well either. And I'd be on top of all the bedding and stuff. But I just remember it'd be like coming to a different world coming to Cornwall, because all the road signs would have graffiti on them, like English out and hang off and all this, and I'm sure there was bullet holes and shotgun holes in like all the English heritage stuff, and it was very, very independent, very, very revolutionary, and I just imagine this world full of pirates and rogues and rebels and all the rest of it. And then I moved here in my late teens, and I mean, there is an element of independence there, but that whole sort of revolutionary side of Cornwall sort of has really been diluted by incomers and stuff. I mean, I'm one of them, so it's just an observation, not a criticism. So so I wrote this song about One and All, which is the Cornish, one and it's on the flag, One and All, about how where have all the revolutionaries gone? Where have all the rebels gone? And the revolution used to be on the wall because the graffiti was everywhere. All the way down the A30, every bridge had a Cornwall independence sort of, and the Cornish flag sprayed on it, and it was quite a mystical and mythical place when you're a child, especially coming from Bradford. Never seen the sea before. I was like, oh my god. But that was great. So One and All was just a little remembrance of that, really. And then the last song on the album, The Stranger, is this is actually a true traditional Cornish tune called Estran. Estran meaning stranger in Cornish. There's some debate whether it's Cornish or Scottish, actually, because there's a Scottish version of the words that go with the tune, about a guy who was from Cornwall who went to America, and he came back to Cornwall and he found it was a strange land to him. It changed so much. So I've sort of adapted that idea of an outcome of someone from Yorkshire like myself coming to Cornwall and feeling like I was a stranger in Cornwall. So I've changed it a little bit, and I've reworked some of the some of the ideas behind it. But it's basically the most true traditional song that we've got on the album that I haven't changed too much. So it's quite a nice little. I've given it a sort of. I wanted to have quite a droning, sort of Velvet Undergroundy feel to it. So I think we've managed that. Mixed it up a little bit. So yeah, that's the album. Very happy with it.